Hey, Scorpio, Intuitive Soul Coach here with your February 2024 bonus reading. Welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. These are general readings. Please take what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you're interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, Scorpio, welcome. This reading is going to be all about the purpose. What is your purpose with this job, with this career path, with this relationship or situation you are currently going through? This can also pertain to life purpose on a broader scale. So please take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Now, right away, I was getting the song, Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten. So some of you, there's still something that is left to maybe the fates. It could be destiny. It could be an unfinished story, unfinished symphony. You actually have the round and round card here showing up in the middle of your reading. So this can be about cycles. And I feel like the next cycle is unwritten. There is a situation that you're currently going through that you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out, but it's a brand new path from the path that you've been currently on. I feel like there's some new lessons that you have integrated, Scorpio, into your life, whether this is a lesson that was hard learned. It was some challenges that you've had to go through, because at the bottom of the deck, you have all that glitters. And the all that glitters card talks about chasing after maybe shiny or mercurial things. It can be surface level relationships or jobs that you are in that are not fulfilling. And underneath it, it could be masked, right? It could be masked, and underneath it, it's rotten. It's not what you were hoping for, or it doesn't align with your energy. It looks pretty on paper, right? It looks good on the surface, but I feel like some of you may have been dealing with a situation where all masks are off now. Okay, and this can be, look at that. It could even be something within the justice system. It could be karma, because you have the to be fair card showing up here with the yin energy, which is feminine, receiving. So some of you could have received some news, or there was a situation that seemed unfair, but I feel like this is you seeing something for what it is. Now, starting off here, Scorpio, you have the clean it up card. The clean it up card is about a mess, right? It's about something that may have happened that left you in shambles, or it left you feeling like you were in a sticky situation, or there's some mending that needs to take place, or someone's cleaning out their closets, right? Someone may have had to come clean. I kind of get that energy. Someone had to come clean about who they were, or about a situation. There may have been a facade. There may have been tales. I'm getting like tall tales. Someone may have been spinning some lies or spinning some tall tales around a situation. And now you're left kind of cleaning up the mess, right? Maybe it's that coworker who got that promotion when the boss told you you were going to get it. This can also be cleaning up your mental, emotional, and even physical health after some sort of loss or heartache, right? This can be, it's card 21 as well, which is the world. So this can be wrapping up this cycle that feels like it's been going on and on and on for quite some time. But I feel like there's, again, it's like you're stepping off the revolving door. You know, those doors you go through at the mall or wherever, and they just are revolving, and sometimes you don't walk through quick enough. I feel like some of you have felt like you've been going around that revolving door, and you're just back on square one. You're back in the original position when really you've wanted to take off on a new opportunity. Well, here's that new opportunity coming in here. Because yes, something has been spinning for you, but you have the exchanging gifts. This is beautiful energy because you've had to learn some very valuable lessons. You've gone through a situation. It's actually allowed you, Scorpio, to open up some of your own spiritual gifts, for you to discover some of your own talents. It's almost as if I see the silver lining. And now that you're cleaning up a situation, you can see the silver lining for what it was, right? Maybe that job loss allowed you to focus more on your education, going back to school, building a business, or aligning with a company that really matches and jives with your energy. Perhaps that relationship that came to an end was breaking you wide open, right? So you can allow yourself to love you even more. Whatever this situation is, I feel like, yes, the rest is still unwritten here. But because you're still going round and round in this cycle, it makes me think that there could still be some lessons during this cleanup process, right? You may find some things. Think of a tornado coming in, wreaking havoc on a town, right? And your house is in the midst of that tornado, and you evacuate right away to keep yourself protected. But when you go back and you start to clean up, you start to salvage and see what is left, you're still processing, you're going through the emotions, you're going through the feelings, you are seeing what's salvageable. You may even find certain memorabilia or certain mementos in the home that matter most, and you start to look at things from a completely new perspective. And there's a sense of gratitude that you're alive, but yet a sense of deep grief for the loss, right? So there's a lot that you're learning during this cleanup process. So let's take a look at your energy. We're going to look at you, Scorpio. Page of Cups. Page of Cups here. It is in reverse. So some of you feel like you have lost a little bit of motivation to move forward and exchange some of these gifts or say yes to an opportunity here. Let's take a look at your weakness, current situation, your strength. Let's take a look at your purpose and your secondary. Main lessons to be learned, hopes and fears, what you don't know, and advice to achieve those hopes and fears. All right, bottom of the deck here is the Fool. There's the new opportunity here for you. This is a fearless beginning, but sometimes, right, when you're cleaning things up, when you are looking at the mess that the tornado has left, it's really hard to think of the new beginning because you're still in shambles. You're still trying to figure out how to clean up this mess. You're not necessarily focusing immediately on the new beginning, although it's very prominent that we need to start, thinking about a new place to live. If your house is not available to live in, or you need to start thinking about, calling insurance. And so there's things to do in the process of this new beginning, but it's like you're between worlds at this time. So perhaps this is you leaving an old job and heading towards something new, right? This could be the remnants of an old relationship, whether that's with family or friends or a lover, right? It could be you cleaning up something within that dynamic in order for you to raise your vibrations and move towards something new. But the Fool is the underlying energy. This is what's going on subconsciously. So even though you're still picking up the pieces of a situation here, your subconscious is still planning and preparing for some of the new beginnings. But it's difficult to kind of focus on that when you're still going through some of the current stuff, when you're still going round and round. Some of you, it's mental, going round and round in your mind space. All right. They're saying look behind it. Yeah, Six of Cups. Because the reason why we go round and round in that mind space is because we're looking at the past, the things that have went wrong, the destruction or the challenge, or, maybe past life relationships you were dealing with here as well. And there's that World card that we talked about earlier, card 21, which is the clean it up. So I am getting here that some of you, you're coming close to a sense of closure around a situation. Any setbacks that you've had, Scorpio, or any feelings of maybe being stuck or inadequate or not good enough, or you've had a belief around a situation, you're starting to wiggle that around because they're giving me flexibility. Even though we don't see it quite yet, they're giving me the flexibility card. And I feel like it's important for you to be flexible in your thinking, in your approach, because sometimes we get into that fight or flight, or we get into that never-ending mind story where we keep going back and replaying something. So starting off here, you are the Page of Cups. New beginnings. Again, it is showing up in reverse. So some of you, this could be love. It could be you are hurt around a situation. You may have handed your heart off and someone took advantage and you were left kind of with your heart stomped out. For others of you with this Page of Cups, this can be missing the signs, right? It can be missing the signs around you because sometimes we're so ingrained and focused on distractions, right? The noise. And I feel like this is a very important time for you, Scorpio, to find things that excite you, not distract you. Okay, so if you're feeling very stressed out, or if you are feeling like we need to clean it up here, some of you, this is about getting grounded. And maybe this is part of the clean it up process in order for you to keep your heart open. It could be healing around a situation where someone did hurt you, right? If this is creative endeavors, perhaps you lost momentum, you lost motivation to open that business or to focus on your creative endeavors. Maybe life got in the way and your responsibilities started to get overwhelming and you shut down on maybe some self-love. Page of Cups is opportunities for growth as well. It certainly can represent communication. Some of you, part of this closing of a cycle or stepping off that revolving door do have to do with maybe shutting down communication with someone that keeps pulling you back in is kind of what I'm getting here. Or it could be even yourself, where instead of telling yourself that old story, maybe you are guided to shut that down and tell yourself, no, I don't want that to be my story. The rest is still unwritten. I don't need to keep going back and playing a broken record because I already know how that turns out. So this is a new opportunity to get excited. This is a new beginning, a new mindset to open your heart here and see what else is possible. Now, your weakness is the Ace of Cups. Whew, powerful energy. Scorpio, you're showing up in your watery elements, right? We're starting off with a Page of Cups, maybe some sort of shut down communication, or we don't feel as inspired. But your weaknesses here is all about emotional introspection. And Scorpio, sometimes you go deep within your emotions, but it's interesting because this just came up this morning in a podcast that I was listening to. And so many times we try to think our emotions. We think through our emotions instead of feeling them. There's such a big difference, right? Sometimes we try to rationalize and we use our mind to try to process the emotions, but we don't actually feel or sit with them. And that could be a weakness of yours, right? Emotional introspection is what is required for you to truly feel some of these things, because sometimes maybe we shut down, right, with this Page of Cups. And maybe that's part of it, is you just don't want to, you feel like you feel so deeply, but at the same time, maybe you're over analyzing or overthinking or trying to process through that never ending cycle of the mind that won't be quiet, right? So a weakness here. And it's not bad to get familiar with your weaknesses. So many people don't want to look at them, or they get scared and they say, well, that's not a weakness, or if that's you right now, I can guarantee it's part of something you are, working through in this lifetime, or at least in this situation. Because the reverse of the Ace of Cups is self-love. It's the relationship with oneself. And perhaps some of you are disappointed because you've opened your heart up and you actually gave so much to a job or to a relationship or to someone else or something else that you drained your own energy. And that can be your weakness at times, is giving so much to others. But then when you don't get it back in return, there creates a sense of bitterness and anger, maybe even hostility, because remember, these are all emotions which are part of the human experience, but it's what we do with those emotions. How can we transmute them? How can we shift the dynamic here? It doesn't mean it's wrong to feel them, but it's what we do with them. Do we attach ourselves to them? Do we numb them, suppress them, store them in the body, creating dis-ease, creating anxiety, creating depression? That's what you are being guided to do, is focus on the relationship with self, because you can't drink from, an empty cup. It's time to fill your cup here. And that weakness can be giving out all your reserve and your energy to others. What's the current situation here? Emperor in reverse. Some of you, this is a boss who's very manipulative, maybe even narcissistic. Okay, it's an effective ruler. Someone who thinks they're a good leader or a good ruler, but they misuse their power. When the Emperor shows up in reverse, it could be a father figure who was ineffective being a good, emotionally stable father. Maybe they were drunk all the time. Maybe they were emotionally absent. Maybe they were a workaholic. Maybe they were off trying to support the family, but they didn't give much to their children. If this is a lover, this could also be someone who they were very selfish. The Emperor in reverse is a very selfish energy. So I am getting here, Scorpio, you could be dealing with someone who's very selfish, or maybe these are characteristics within oneself, right? Sometimes this Emperor in reverse, Aries energy, is about learning to question the parts of yourself that are being guided to stand tall, to being guided to be that leader, to step into power. But there's a sense of maybe control that is taking over, controlling the situation, controlling the mind, controlling how things turn out, that may be getting in the way of this Emperor being a strong leader. So your strength here in this situation is, we have another page. The strength is the Page of Swords here. And even though it's showing up in reverse, it is the flip side, the positive side of the Page of Swords, which is strategic solutioning, right? Remember what we said earlier, you have that brilliant mind. Sometimes you think your feelings, which sometimes that can help you detach, or it can help you move on, which is great, because we're not meant to attach ourselves to people, places, and things. We're supposed to be letting things flow, right? When something is blocked, it becomes stagnant, right? And I refer that to running water. We like to have that water running free. What happens when that water starts to get blocked? It creates that dam, right? And that dam starts to build pressure and pressure and pressure. And the Page of Swords here as your strength is keeping that mind open. And maybe that's why flexibility came in for you, Scorpio. This is about strategic solutioning instead of disconnecting yourself from the divine consciousness, right? The divine mind. And sometimes you get, yes, lost in your own thoughts, but you have brilliant ideas. This is your strength. You have brilliant ideas. You are creative. Look at this little feller. He's using his right intuitive imagination, but yet he's also using his left logical analytical mind here as well. So I feel like it is important that you find that balance and don't shut one quadrant off in the mind. You have the power to really be a genius. They're giving me like Einstein energy. So some of your ideas, some of your thinking is very brilliant. Use that to your advantage, because the power of the mind is literally the power, right? That is what fuels us. That's what we put into our manifestations, right? That is what makes or breaks us, is that mindset as well. So you have this strength to not replay a broken record. When that Natasha Bedingfield song came up, The Rest Is Still Unwritten, it is about you keeping that beginner's mindset and saying, okay, what else is possible? I'm open to infinite opportunities. So really beautiful being your strength here. Now let's take a look at your purpose and your secondary. Here you are. I love it. Look at that. We have Hermit energy. Okay, Hermit energy along with, and this is Virgo. And I say here you are because the Hermit is someone who is very deep in introspection. And I get, even though this is Virgo, I do think of you, Scorpio, because you are someone who does go deep, right? You are a watery element. You are very mystical. You are very into maybe the spiritual or occult realms. You like to dive deep. You're not surface. And so it bothers you more than most if other people are surface, or if they don't necessarily think deeply, or they don't understand things the way you do. And even though that's not going to be, everyone's case here, it's going to be for a lot of you, because the Six of Coins, both of these cards are showing up in the upright. So your purpose here is reciprocity, generous giving, but sometimes because you may be highly empathic with the Hermit, you just want to shut yourself away from the world. Some of you may even kind of hermit yourself to your own gifts. You may keep them on lockdown, or you may keep them on the lowdown, right? Some of you may be single, or some of you may spend a lot of time with yourself, even if you're in a relationship. But I feel like this is about you coming out of this introspection period, or coming out of the shell and rejoining life through a new capacity, through sharing your gifts and talents, through being able to meet new people instead of just feeling immediately that they are surface or that they don't align with you, but to allow people to show you who they are and to maybe get to know them a little better as well. This can be about unbalanced taking, with the Six of Coins showing up as the purpose. So again, we talked about this, where some of you may have given your heart and soul to a company, to a person, to a relationship, or to a situation where you got burned. And that's caused you to kind of recluse, go into this hermit shell and do a lot of soul searching. But for some of you, I feel like the big purpose here is to not self-isolate. Of course, we need those moments of soul searching, but if you've been self-isolating for quite some time, the purpose here is to give back in some way, shape, or form, to be of service, to share your gifts, to put yourself out there, to maybe get back in the dating world, to meet new people, to collaborate with new companies. Six of Pentacles is about an unexpected resource, a gift, right? And you literally have the gift card showing up here. So there is something here about not hiding your gifts. You've learned a lot, and you have some deep reflection that is to be taught, or that is to be shared. A lot of you could be shamans, healers, mystics. Maybe you're writers, you're authors, you're content creators, but you are being guided here to share your story. And there is some deep fear, because on the Six of Coins, there is a moon in the background. And that moon energy is Pisces. It's the watery element, your fellow water sign. And it can be about fears of maybe the shadows or the weaknesses, right? And your weakness, we said, is the Ace of Cups. Are you emotionally ready? Do you have what it takes to express yourself? Absolutely. But there could be some hidden fears, maybe around judgment, maybe around shame, criticism. Perhaps there are some suppressed feelings that you're still working through at this time. So powerful purpose energy, especially with the Hermit, and you are someone on a life purpose level that is meant to really dig in. So if you've been the type of person, Scorpio, that has asked, what is my purpose? What am I here for? It is to know thyself. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it is. For you, Scorpio, it is to know thyself so much that you're able to give to the world in a way that is reciprocated, because you're putting out there, I don't want to say without expectations, but in a way it is without expecting anything in return, but deeply knowing that you will get something back in return, because it is part of your soul's mission. Therefore, there will be reciprocity in this dynamic, whether it's you speaking your truth, whether it's you teaching others about maybe spirituality or about trauma that you've gone through. I feel like you have this deep inner knowing. You have this deep piece of you that sometimes you keep, again, on the lowdown. where in this lifetime, you may be guided to reach out and to share your gifts in big ways. And that's kind of what I feel for your purpose or around a situation here, especially if you're dealing with someone who was a big taker and it's left you in a deep isolation period. If some of you did go through a relationship or dynamic with this Emperor in reverse, it probably left you needing to recover. This isn't something that, you can be in and you go through this experience with this Emperor in reverse and then you come out the next day and you're fine. No, there's a lot of healing that takes place, whether this Emperor is a characteristic of you or again, someone else that you are dealing with. It's going to take some deep soul searching. So let's take a look at the main lesson to be learned here. Is to not let your impulsivities or the chaos disconnect you from thyself. Remember what we said, to know thyself. So when the Knight of Swords shows up as the main lesson to be learned, some of you were really dealing with a situation that brought a lot of chaos, a lot of impulsivity on your end or someone else's, because it is showing up in reverse. The Knight of Swords energy is that of someone who acts too quickly. So part of the lesson here is to not act too quickly or how to understand when other people act quickly, because there could be lessons and teachable moments within that. This is action, right? Second fastest moving knight. And sometimes this knight goes so quick, right? He has a motorcycle there. He has a motorcycle, but he can go, 0 to 60 in seconds. And sometimes he doesn't have his head on right, or he's too quick, too impulsive, and it can cause an accident, right? And I feel for some of you, there was some sort of accident. Now, not in the physical. Maybe for some of you, it could have been, a fall. Maybe there was a twisted ankle, or maybe there was an accident here. But I feel like that's part of that tornado symbology that we were talking about. Maybe even a tower that some sort of chaos has caused. And part of the lesson here is to work through it, understand it, do some soul searching of the why, but cleaning it up here. Cleaning it up and learning from that. And some of you were very easily offended. You were hurt from a situation or how someone's impulsivities may have affected you. All right. Let's take a look at your desires, your hopes, and your fears. Ace of Wands. Beautiful new beginning here. And remember, we see the Fool at the bottom of the deck. So we see that there is this big, grand new beginning coming in here for you. You want it too. That's part of your desires and your hopes. You want a motivated beginning because you haven't felt motivated, because you've been in the clean it up process and there's round and round, gaining some sort of closure or feeling stuck or just feeling empty rewards, right? Or feeling like you weren't getting the rewards, or empty promises I'm hearing as well. They're giving me the name Nicholas or Nikolai. Okay, please take that as it resonates. But the fear here is a useless delay. You're sick of useless delays. But the reason why we have these delays, and that's why something keeps going round and round, is because there's still lessons to learn, right? And we just talked about all of those lessons, or part of the opportunity here, part of the strength, the weaknesses, and cleaning something up, because you have the World showing up here a couple times in your reading. So that is part of the fear. And I feel like some of you, you've been sitting at this line, right? This start line for quite some time, and you're waiting for that shot to go off for you to get moving, but it's like there's a delay and you're starting to exhaust your energy just by waiting, right? Waiting can be exhausting. And so sometimes you think, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to stretch. I'm not going to be prepared here, or I am prepared, but I'm going to stretch. I might go, get a drink of water, or I might just go try to do something else, but you don't want to miss this. So it's like your mind is in two places. It's in that clean it up, or that maybe stagnant, bored, or waiting period. And then, wanting to be ready as soon as that shot goes up in the air so you can say yes to this new beginning. All right, let's take a look at what you don't know. What you don't know is what you actually know here with the High Priestess. You're still stuck in the Five of Cups, which is understandable. You have the cup energy here. Remember, that's part of your weakness. So some of you, there's a haunting loss that does maybe haunt you. This could be a death. It could be a job loss, a relationship heartache. The Five of Cups is maybe even, again, depression. It can be bitterness. It can be needing to forgive. It's some sort of disappointment, broken heart, betrayal, regret. It's allowing yourself the time and the space to grieve, which we see with the Hermit, but then moving towards a new beginning. And maybe some of you, maybe that is part of the fear, is the new beginning, because sometimes it feels more comfortable just to stay in that grief. And some of you are saying, Melissa, why would that be comfortable? Well, sometimes our comfort zone isn't necessarily comfortable, but it feels safe and it feels familiar. Therefore, we stay in it. And I feel what's important here, what you don't know, is that you're actually healing this loss by going within and trusting your own intuition and making choices and decisions in your life, Scorpio, that are intuitive. Okay, High Priestess, Cancer, more water energy here. This is about making decisive, intuitive choices and not silencing the intuition. Because sometimes the head gets in the way, sometimes the heart or our emotions get in the way, and both of those, believe it or not, can tend to take over our navigational soul guidance system, which is your intuition. So some of you, you have a hard time listening to that part of yourself because of some sort of loss, because your emotions are getting in the way, or because you're overthinking or thinking your emotions, as we talked about prior. Advice to achieve your hopes, your desires. Wow, look at this. You have the Five of Swords, Ten of Wands, King of Wands in reverse. So your advice here is to get out of any situation where I'm hearing cut your losses. Cut your losses, whatever that means. Walk away. The Five of Swords is a battle. It is about a ruthless win. And yes, some of you may have gone through a situation, especially with that Emperor there. Maybe you've gone through a situation where there was no winners, right? Maybe someone was constantly needing to have the last word. Maybe someone was always in that fight or flight. I mean, look at this guy. He's ready for battle. Not only is he ready, he's in battle. He has his armor from his, neck all the way down, full-fledged suit of armor. He has a knife ready to charge. He is charging. His mouth is wide open. He has the other four swords on his back here. He's ready to come in at all costs and do what he needs to do. And I feel for some of you, perhaps this is a representation of you getting through some sort of battle by doing what you need to do. Cleaning something up here. But if you're dealing with a person that has this Five of Swords energy, the message here is there is a compromise here, but maybe that compromise is about cutting your losses, walking away from it, knowing when to fight for something and when to walk away. Okay, that's the difference here. And for a lot of you, you're being guided to lay down the heavy burden, accept some sort of maybe responsibility that is yours. But if it's not your responsibility, it's time to lay it down. Lay down that burden. And for some of you, this is an interesting message. You were fighting someone else's war. You were fighting someone else's war, and it left you exhausted. It left you burnt out, and it left you almost broken for some of you. For others of you, yes, this was your own war as well, mentally, okay, family, in a relationship, in a career. And the Ten of Wands can't even be that Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It. I want to fix this person. I know that they are in that fight or flight. I know that they have wounds. I know that they're struggling, or maybe this is you, right? Carrying the heavy burdens, but I feel like there was a piece, a very vital piece that was missing. And that's why you were carrying those burdens. And the vital piece that was missing is this King of Wands, right? Your own superpowers. You are your own hero. And this is about you coming in to save yourself. That's your responsibility. Saving yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. This is about you being dependably goal-oriented. This is about you setting your goals and stopping at nothing to achieve them. Maybe that's part of that Five of Swords. And maybe this is some of you working real hard towards them. Ten of Wands can be hard work, determination. So if this is a battle for yourself, push through the difficulties, push through the challenge, the setbacks, the struggles. Get out of this hermit energy. For some of you, this can be a deep, isolating, lonely period. Do what you need to do and reach out, because that Six of Pentacles says you're not alone. There's a helping hand here. And I feel for you, Scorpio, the world is your oyster, right? There are so many abundant, powerful opportunities out here. We need to get out of that setback, that feeling of stickiness or stuckness, right? We need to clean it up here, card 21, so we can embrace the Ace of Wands, right? We can embrace your hopes and your desires. We can embrace the Fool energy and take a leap of faith. Some of you are afraid to because you felt foolish. Someone made a fool out of you. But Ace of Wands showing up is a motivated new beginning, and you have what it takes. And even though something may have been rotten or hidden underneath, Scorpio, there are some beautiful gifts that are coming out of this, and a lot of these have to do with your own gifts. That is what I have for you, beautiful souls. I just heard the name Bennett as well. If that's your name, a place, a location, take it as it resonates. Thank you so very much for tuning in, Scorpio. If you like the messages, please hit that thumbs up button. It certainly helps get the divine channeled messages out there to those that need it most. Feel free to share, like, comment, hit that subscribe and bell button. Thank you so very much. Lots of love.